Thank you, Professor Rong. It's my great honor to be here. It's my first visit here, and so I'm very happy to be given such an opportunity to make such a presentation. Because the time is very tight because Professor Rong gave me such a task just 1 day ago. It's never been in my agenda. So it just the PPT is not so perfect, but I just try my best to communicate with you guys and about what I think from a lawyer's perspective about China, about the Chinese enterprises, about how the Chinese entrepreneurs think about their business, think about what's next they should do. Actually, it's actually in my past years of experience, I handled a lot of cases in the areas of merger and acquisition, outbound investments in the capital market, and something like that. But I think my writing English is better than my speaking English. Okay, so today's topic, just as Professor Rong mentioned, that it's about the enterprises, the expansion strategy from a lawyer's perspective, standing under international law. So, because in this year's experience, I have understanding that the politics and the economy, they combine each other, and China and the U.S. and the world they can also combine each other. They cannot develop without other country. So first of all, today's centering around today's topic, there will be my contents. There's just several. You can see these outlines. The first is the current global situation. The second is the China situation. And third is opportunities and challenges for Chinese enterprises and entrepreneurs. And third is difficulties and solutions for enterprises going overseas. And then lastly is the internationalization strategies for enterprises. Sorry, this English PPT, is automatic, translation from the GPT, Chat GPT. Yeah, it's an amazing tool. As we all know that China, the United States now, under the in this administration of Trump, the MAGA strategy. They are implementing the MAGA strategy, make America great again. So it's very impressive. President Trump also dance, sing the MAGA, on the stage is very impressive. But under this strategy, the U.S. is strengthening alliances with their traditional partners like Canada, Britain, and the Australia, etc., to implementing the kind of trade protectionism. So you can see for the Trump administration, in the recent days, they use the barriers. Barriers, raise the barriers against not only in China but the rest of the world. And the purpose, of course, is to protect the Americans' national interest. But under this strategy, you can see that the protectionism emerges. Yeah. And the second is that on the other hand, on the one hand, United States wants to make America great again, make the America first. But on the other hand, some emerging countries like the China, India, Brazil, etc. They also, with the growth of the economy, they also wish to participate in the governance of the world. So there will be some kind of conflicts, But because of the difference among of the value or some of their idea of how to run this country, how to run this planet, the consensus sometimes is not that easy, to reach, And especially for the China-U.S. relationships in those days, we can see that it's very difficult to for them to reach a consensus, reach agreement on some major issues. I remembered, just around 2 years ago, I traveled to the Oxford University for a visiting scholarship program, and one day I just looked around in the library, and I found a book about writing by the Gingrich. I remember Gingrich. Yeah, used to be a senator or a leader in the House, Congress. And it's about China, of course, Red China. Yeah, and it said that many years ago, the capital market, the Western countries, thought that they could change China. Yeah. But over the years, they found that they could not. They just made a strategically mistake that China is very difficult to change. So just because of this reason, they just they change from the past policy of cooperating with China to today's policy of containing China, of stopping China from developing. So I think that is a change. So China needs U.S. Also, U.S. also needs China. But even though, they still, battle with each other. Yeah. Just like, in China, we say that I need you. I don't need you, but I cannot live without you. Something like that. Yeah. But for people, for the regular people, okay, for our enterprises, for our for Chinese people, I think for many American people, I think they are very nice, they are very friendly with each other. They are very. They don't like the they don't. Some people don't know politics. They don't want to know politics. Even they know politics, but they don't care. Yeah, so that's a different different story. And and the second is the geopolitical conflicts now intense. Become intense. Like the Middle East, people know that the Israel and the Palestinian, and the war between Russia and the Ukraine, these are the geopolitical conflicts, everywhere. Even just a month ago, even the Thailand and the Cambodia, they also have some quarrel, with each other, So the geopolitical conflicts, has become very everywhere. Seems that. So it is you can hear that from some diplomatic observers or some experts saying that the world now it seems on the brink of the Third World War. I think that's sometimes we are also have a lot of discussion on this in China. People don't want wars. Especially for our common people. We don't want wars. Yeah. So we wish that this world could become, the politicians could become, more wise to deal with the differences, to deal with the conflicts. Don't make too many innocent people get involved in the wars. That's a strategy. That's a tragedy. And the other problem is the anti-globalization or deglobalization. I think in the year around, in the early of this century, I remember that there's a topic, a main topic is globalization, and China just entered into the WTO, and the world is growing so fast, and everything is very good, and there's a lot of communications between China and the United States, and a lot of cooperation among the world. But now today, especially after the COVID, how to say? Yeah. So seems that the world changed a lot. Now deglobalization has become a main topic. Yeah. So many business, because of it, they lose opportunities. I think the world has connected closely so many years, but all of a sudden it comes to a halt. Suddenly, so it means a loss of business, a loss of opportunities. Yeah. And so, as I mentioned, that under the influence of trade wars and the protectionist measures, global supply chains are being restructured, leading to the reduced interdependence among economies. But this will harm. Well, in the long run, this will harm the business. And also the rising trade barriers. More countries are adopting tariffs, quotas, and the localization requirements, making cross-border business more complex and costly. Everyone know this story, especially the Trump administration took just raised the high tariffs against even his alliances, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is I just briefly the current situation of the world. Of course, I think I'm not an international relationship expert. Just give an outline of what I thought or what I can see. And on the other hand, that there's a wave of technological revolution, AI, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, I feel not only in the United States, but also in China and the rest of the world, has become very, very popular word. Just now, Professor Lily told me that she's never been to China before. I wish that someday you could have the opportunity to go to China. You can see that there are a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, they are talking about AI, and it has also become a hot topic in China again. Yeah. Also, biotechnology. Yeah. And with the wave of the technology, development, a lot of things will change. Yeah. I think maybe going forward, a lot of people will become they will become maybe a lot of unemployment, right? Will emerge, right? Some people will become abundant, right? Who knows? Yeah. And the labor market will be reshaped. Yeah. So how about China? Just now, we just outlines the some situation about this world, what the world is, what's about. But how about China? Yeah, China is part of the world. It's part of the planet, and it's also the second largest power in the world, and it plays a very important role in the international forum. And I think China is very different from United States. Yeah, not only for its history, its laws, its political system are very, very different. The United States regards it as a democratic, a country, while China also thinks so. China also regard it as a democratic, right? Democratic country. So same thing, but two different countries have different views about that. Yeah, but every country has its characteristics, has its features. Like China, we in today's China with President Xi Jinping's coming to the stage of the power, and he focused on the party building, Communist Party building, especially in the governments, in the institutions, in the public institutions. They focus on the party building has become a very a routine job that you need to do, and on the other hand, also Xi Jinping, President Xi Jinping also take some measures to crack down the bribes or some bureaucracies of the Chinese officials, but everything has its two sides. Have its a coin has its two sides, right? As you know that. On the one hand, that it's time to take some measure, to take some steps to correct the problems that exist in the Chinese officials, Chinese governments. But on the other hand, a lot of private companies, private entrepreneurs get involved. China, also just as I mentioned that the economy is based on the politics. Each entrepreneur, each entrepreneur who doing that job very well, who are growing their business very good, cannot do that without the support of the local governments. So when some officials get trouble, or even get jail, a lot of entrepreneurs might get trouble. That's the problem. That's what the Chinese private enterprises meet. The problem, yeah. So we can see from many, media that a lot of private entrepreneurs of China, they just they get investigated, get inspected by the Chinese authorities. Because China, Professor Lily, I don't know whether you know that or not. In China, we have we call Jiwei, or Discipline Inspection Commission, which it's different from the security department, and they could take a very strict measures, to investigate, to inspect the entrepreneurs, and so it's a terrible thing, and so a lot of Chinese private entrepreneurs, they are investigated by such a commission, and some entrepreneurs, they could not stand the pressure from such departments. So finally, they even commit suicide, something like that. Especially when they are charged with to crime, a very serious crime. So once they were investigated, normally their property will be seized, and they will be seized. Will be there will be imposed a penalty. If they commit a very serious crime, they will be sentenced to with life imprisonment. Yeah, and their property, of course, so their property might be took away. But it depends. It does not necessarily mean that every crime they committed they will face these penalties. It doesn't. It depends. But generally speaking, that Chinese entrepreneurs now they are facing such a pressure. I think that's the issue. Yeah, that's the issue. That's the side effect of President Xi's measures to try to rectifying the bribery, or try to clean the politics, something like that. I think from its inner heart, it's good. He want to make the government more clean, but on the other hand, there's a side effect. So today's economic policies we took in the China today. Chinese government took a proactive fiscal policy, which means that Chinese government will raise more money and spend money, make a lot of investments, and to improve the consumption. They also took a loose monetary policy, which means that the Chinese government will to make the lending more easier, and to ensure the business could get money, and to maintain the reasonable liquidity amount in this market. And also there's a problem in today's China, that there will be as I mentioned, a local government debt pressure is much higher. Local governments face debt repayment challenges with some regions experiencing fiscal imbalance, affecting their ability to stimulate economic activity and posing certain risks. As I just set an example, I came from Guizhou province. My hometown is in the southwest part of China, and in the past years, the leaders of the local governments, they spent a lot of money to build the infrastructures like the railways, the high-speed ways, the road, especially, etc. So he spent money in the infrastructure, and as a result, the local government, their debt is much higher. So that even in today, they are still, they cannot afford to pay this money back. So the pressure, the local government's debt pressure is much higher. This is also an issue now facing the Chinese governments. On the other hand, the military development, I think this, China also, try to modernize its military, its forces. I think every country also now have these problems. As I just mentioned before, that the world seems to is on the brink of the Third World War. So you can see that not only in China but also the other country, United States, Germany and the India, they are trying to get their ministry stronger, and powerful, and so the armed armed races now you can see everywhere armed races. I think it's a signal, it's a risk signal, of wars. So we wish that we can find the world could find a rich agreement to cool down this situation. And you can see that China, we used to take the leaders, the previous presidents of China used to take democratic ways, democratic method of try to, how to say, they were on the one hand they wish to be more independent, but on the other hand they don't want to fight with United States. They don't want to too much quarrels with the United States. But today you can see they have tried to gradually they try to abandon their diplomatic constraints. They try to strengthen their strategic partnerships. First of all, let's have 1 minute to introduce the basic situation of today's of Chinese enterprises. In China, we have the SOE, state-owned enterprises, and the SOE also can be divided into two categories. One is the central SOE, which means that their shareholder, their equity are owned by the central governments. And the local SOE, local SOE means that their equity are held by the local governments. So SOE, there's on the one hand, there's SOE. On the other hand, is the private enterprises. And you can see that we have a number. We have 100 in today's the newest number is 100 central SOE. For the local SOEs, we can't find the accurate number, but because there's no such a very very accurate statistics of the local SOEs, but that would be a big number for the SOE, and for the private enterprises, they are also I forgot the number, but I know that there will be a large number of private enterprises. But how about the scale of the private enterprises? As of 2023, the number of private enterprises in China exceeded 50 million, playing a major role in driving employment, GDP growth, exports, and innovation. And how about the SOEs? Central SOE total assets exceeds 80 trillion yuan, while the total this is maybe a typo. And I know that all the SOEs, including central SOE and the local SOE, the total assets exceed 300 trillion yuan. But it seems that the SOE plays a very important role. But Actually, the private enterprises plays are even more important roles, like the tax contribution. Private enterprises contribute more than 50% of the total tax revenue in China, demonstrating their critical role in the national fiscal stability. And for the GDP contribution, private enterprises account for more than 60% of GDP, serving as a key driver of the China's economic growth and global competitiveness. But I think the number is not that important because I cannot guarantee that this number is so accurate. But due to the statistics, maybe some not so accurate. But the point is that the private enterprises plays a very critical role in China's economy. However, as I just mentioned before, that the private enterprises now, the entrepreneurs are under kind of pressure, because on the one hand they need to develop themselves, on the other hand they need to try to avoid getting involved in the political problem. That's the a very sensitive issue. So we can say that the Chinese entrepreneurs, they need a lot of wisdom. They need a lot of flexibility. They need a lot of power. They need a lot of strength, and to exist, to develop, to grow in China. But also, they also have a lot of opportunities for the Chinese private enterprises, because the market is very huge, and we have a large number of population. The market is very huge, and the people also wish to make progress, and also the whole country. The whole country is also very big, and also the technology in China now also keeps keep upgrading, keep developing. So especially with the AI, with the biotechnology, with the iteration of this technology, there are also a lot of opportunities for them to develop. And just like I just mentioned that Chinese private enterprises or entrepreneurs, they get a lot of opportunities to develop themselves. But on the other hand, they also thinking about one thing: well, should I do? How do I do the business? How do I expand my business in China or going overseas? Now more and more Chinese entrepreneurs, they are thinking one thing, is how to expand their business in across the border, go to the United States, go to Canada, go to Britain, Australia, go to Africa, go to Southeast Asia, etc. So we can see they are considering this issue, this possibility, this option. Why they wish to go to abroad for their future development? There's some elements that they are taking into consideration. Why is that they are considering the market demand, the necessity of going up global? First one is the market demand. As domestic markets gradually reach situation, overseas markets offer new growth opportunities. Enterprises can meet global consumers' diversified needs, and expand the market share through internationalization, achieving sustainable development. So the first one is the market demand. They need to expand their business into the rest of the world. The second is the brand building needs. For those companies who can, for example, go to the United States to set up their branches or their subsidiaries, so to set up branches or make investment in the United States or in other countries, means that they have a good brand in China. The third one is the influence. I think it's easy to understand that. Going global can improve the enterprise voice in the industry and market influence, allowing it to participate in the international competition, strengthen cooperation with global partners, and expand its industrial chain layout. And also, can help them to internationalization can push the enterprises to adopt international standards, compliance, like the ESG. As you know that ESG, I remember emerges from the Britain or the US. I forgot ESG. Also in China, also very popular. Especially for those enterprises who want to go abroad, who want to make business with the Western countries. They are, especially for including the central SOEs, including the listed companies. They are now gradually, taking the SOEs requirements to make their companies more standardized, more compliant. I think that's a good thing, right? And so that's the basic, consideration for the companies to choose the ways to going abroad. That when going abroad, they need to the basic reasons that they choose this way. But there's also some challenges in this internationalization strategy. The first one I think is the law, because going overseas means that for a Chinese company, for example, go to the United States to make investments. The first thing that he needs to know is the law, because there's a two different country with two different law systems. In China, we have the civil law system, but the United States is a case law, is a common law system. It's very different. In China, we are it's the professors, or it's the lawmaking organization, it's the governments, judicial governments, to make the law, and then the people to abide by. But in the United States, I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, but correct me please. In my understanding is that it's the judge who make the law, because the judge make a precedents. The precedents, when make the precedents become the law. And of course, there's some kind of combination, because I know that in the United States also some statutory laws, but mainly they are the common law and the case law. So because of the difference of the law, so for enterprises, if they want to go overseas, they need to know the laws. They need to, or at least they need to find a very reliable, professional, and diligent lawyers to help them. So that's the first challenge. But it's not that easy. We know that the lawyers everywhere, but it's not that easy to find a professional, reliable, and especially diligent lawyers to help with. Sometimes it's it depends on who you meet. Whether you can find such a good lawyers to help. This is the the first challenge. The second is the the culture. We say there's a culture shock. We used to say the culture shock. The culture very, very different. The culture very, very different. When you come to the first day, when you arrive at the United States, you can see the people, the behavior, their custom, their behavior, their talk, very different from that in China. So whether you could learn this culture, whether you can get to know this culture as soon as possible, so as to avoid the culture shock, or that's the one challenge. The second challenge. The third challenge is the religious issues. When entering into foreign markets, enterprises should respect the local religious beliefs and customs to avoid unnecessary disputes and foster harmonious, harmonious, right? Harmonious. Harmonious. Yes, thank you. Harmonious business and relations. In the United States, religion plays a very important role. I know that, and China the same way, but different. And the fourth one is the security issue. Just when we arrive in the United States, we also have a lot of concern about the security issue, because we heard about report from the media that there will be, because in the United States, people are allowed to hold a gun. That's a dangerous thing, right? In China, we are not allowed to hold a gun. But in the United States, that's another story. And because of the a lot of reports, we are a lot of concerns about this problem. So security issue is what we will concern most. And the other thing is the family and the education considerations. Just now, Professor Rong also mentioned that the education, the parents could go to the United States to bring their kids with them, to make investment, and live here, and have their children to get a good education. Yeah, for us, as a dad of a 12 years kid, I also have such a concern, have such a consideration of whether in the future I will bring my kid in the United States to accept to go to the good school, to proceed with his education. I'm also considering this. And Ms. Deng also come to United States to accompany her daughter, because her daughter just get her education since high school and to the college and now a graduate student. So the education consideration is also a very important factor for Chinese private enterprises to go into the United States. Yeah, and this is a very, very important part. And I think Professor Rong's his business school, I think can help a lot of parents to find opportunities, or to find more options to go to the United States to accept this education. And the other is that how to integrate into the local community. During my, this time it's my second time in here in the United States, and also I can, this time I stay longer. I spent for nearly 1 month in the United States. I think that for every Chinese people, that when they come to United States, they also need to face the problem of how to integrate themselves into the local community because of the difference, as I mentioned before, the difference of culture, law system, different language, and many different things. That how can they integrate? How can they face the face the even the racialism, that's also one issue. How to adapt them, into the local community. That's an issue. For example, I can in China, normally Chinese people like to gather together. They have party. They like a party. For even if you want, even every day you could have a party, just like this. The round table, we sit together, we have meal together, we drink alcohol together, and we talk with each other. So it's a very it's a kind of method of communicating with friends, of enhancing the relationships with each other, even doing business with each other. So, but when we come to the United States, I have talked with many, Chinese people or Chinese Americans. They say that they seldom do that gathering. They seldom hold a party like China, like then in China. It's a very different atmosphere, very different culture. But my understanding is that when we go to a different country, we wish to integrate into the local community. But on the other hand, don't forget our tradition. Don't forget our custom. Don't forget our culture. If Chinese like to, party together, why not do that even in the United States of America? You can also have a round table. You can have some people together. Why lose that? I don't know. Those days I all keep asking myself why. Also asking not only myself, also asking my Chinese friends, my Chinese friends, why not keep your tradition here? They don't know why. Maybe the American tradition is too powerful. I don't know. The culture, maybe American culture is too powerful. I don't know. But my opinion is that we need to keep our own tradition, unique tradition. And the other thing is the human resource development. In China, we emphasize the human resources to very much, very much. We think that the friends, networks, relationships are very important part of our life. Whatever you do, whatever you do, and whatever job you are, whatever line of business you are, whether you are a lawyer, you are an entrepreneur, a businessman, or whether you are a fisher, whoever you are, you need friends. That's very simple. You need friends. So in China, that's why we like to gather together and make friends and to improve our relationship. Because we need friends, we need kind of networks. We need so-called networks. We need friends to help with each other. That's a Chinese tradition. So I believe that in the United States, the same thing. Just maybe it shows differently. In the United States, or for example, if I want to have my child to go to like Harvard University to get its bachelor degree or master degree, whatever. Also, I need a reference letter from like Professor Lily, like a Professor Rong. But if I don't know them, how can they provide such a letter to my kid? Impossible. I think that's the same way. That's the same. Just they reflect in a very different way. And finally, is the partner selection is that we need to choose the partners with strong capabilities, aligned values, ensuring resources, etc. to achieve mutual development in the international markets. Yeah, that's in China also same. We also need partners, good partners, to help us with aligned values. In the United States, the same, and especially I think I also discussed this with Professor Rong that Professor Rong now aligned with Professor Lily and other professors or other successful businessmen. They need friends, they need partners. Otherwise, it's very difficult for just Professor Rong to build such a business school. So in the United States, we also need good partners. Yeah, how to select a good partners? How to select a good partner with the strong capabilities, with the aligned values, are core to the success of our business. So, yeah, that's the basic. That's all for yeah. Oh, that's it. Yeah. So there's several. The final one I remember is asset allocation. Yeah, the first one, asset allocation strategy. I put it in the last. Enterprises must rationally allocate global resources, including capital, technology, talent, and production capacity to optimize the global industrial chain layout. This is really a very important factor for many Chinese private enterprises, especially the successful, entrepreneurs, to going abroad, to go to the United States, to go to other countries, because they wish to make their assets allocated around the world, not just put all their money in one country, like in China. It's not that reasonable. It's not that wise, and to some extent, is not that safe. I'm not trying to say. I don't mean to say that China is not safe. I just mean that Chinese, you have an old saying that 不要将一个鸡蛋，不要将所有鸡蛋放在一个篮子里。Don't put all your eggs in one bracket, right? So for this, successful businessmen, they need to allocate. They need to allocate their assets at different countries, especially for a company, for an international company. Yeah, they have such a demand to do this. They have such a need to do this. And so that's why, Professor Rong, your opportunities. This is your opportunities, because a lot of Chinese businessmen, successful entrepreneurs, they want to go to United States to allocate their assets, right? To do business in the United States, to cooperate with you. That's the opportunities. If we just we just develop in China, there's no connections, right? So that's the challenge. That's the so many factors, so many elements that a Chinese businessman or entrepreneur when they they need to consider, take it into consideration when they're going overseas. Yeah. And as a lawyer, I have advised a number of projects, a cross-border transaction, including outbound investment, including the Greenland investment, cross-border M&A, and also overseas listing, and even the non-performing asset disposal. I represent a Chinese big bank to deal with non-performing assets in the Southeast Asia. Yeah, and I can find that Chinese businessmen, they wish to cooperate with the United States, with their counterparts in the United States, and they do not care much about the politics. What they concern is whether the change of our Sino-U.S. relationship, what's the influence, what's the effect the Sino-U.S. relationship could impose upon their business. Otherwise, they like to do business. They wish to communicate with the Americans, with American business partners. They wish to make profits. They wish to realize the win-win strategy. However, in many cases, our business cooperation can introduce some Chinese entrepreneurs to go to the United States to visit Professor Rong and Li Li, and to build the connections with each other. I think that's what we should do. These things really, really matter to us. Okay, that's all for my introduction of what I think, what I see, what I can see.